If you want to get faster on the bike, then there is an absolutely vast array of very expensive bike upgrades that you could make to either your road or gravel bike. But what if there's an easier way, a cheaper way? Well, today we're going to see how much difference you can make to your average speed simply by gauging your effort around a route. Let's get into it, shall we? You see, over the past few years, I've been a little bit obsessed with trying to get round one of my local routes as fast as possible. And I'm very fortunate that I get to test lots of the latest super bikes, some really nice equipment. But what if the biggest difference that you can make to your average speed is actually free? And actually, I think that there's a pretty high chance that that is just the case. So today I decided, I'm on holiday, I'm going to find out. Now, if this was a flat time trial, then I think most people would be in agreement that the best way, the fastest way to do this would be just to hold a constant effort, whatever I can maintain throughout. Most of our rides, though, aren't flat time trials. We might go on a solo ride in our lunch hour or after work, or you might have a Strava segment that you try to beat, or maybe one of your mates that you try to beat round a route. And my question is, how should you pace that effort? Because at the moment, I don't know. Right, without further ado, let's take a closer look at the route. So what I've done is mapped out a route. It's 17.5 kilometers long, and I'm going to ride it 3 times. The first time, I'm going to ride it at constant effort the whole way round. So constant power. I'm going to do that at 250 watts. And same on the hills and on the descent. I'm then going to ride it again, this time harder on the hill and then easier on the descent. And then finally, I'm going to do it once more. I'm going to go full effort, full dribble mode on the climb. And then I imagine I'm going to have to cruise the descent, because the catch is every lap I've got to finish with the same average watts. So the first one, that's easy. I'm just riding at my constant power, 250 watts. My average power will be 250 watts. The next one, I'm going to ride at 280 watts up the climb. That means I'm going to have to average, well, 220 on the descent, maybe a little bit less, because actually I'll be on the descent for less time than I'm climbing, I imagine. And then finally, I'm going to be riding at whatever I can ride at up the hill, and that means that I'll probably be all but descending on the descent. It'll be nice and chill, although I imagine my legs will hurt quite a lot by then. And the aim of all of this is to see how much difference you can make to your average speed just by pacing your effort a little bit differently. Because we've done this before, we've done lots of tests with different wheels, different bikes, etc. And the difference is always fairly marginal. So today we're going to see if this can actually make a bigger difference than any of your clothing, your kit, etc. Your next question might be, why are we doing this? And well, yeah, mainly just because I'm intrigued. I want to know if I'm wasting my effort on the climbs, whether you probably will naturally go harder up a climb, and I want to know whether that's the right thing to do, basically, if I'm trying to get around this route or any route as quick as possible. Right then, effort number 1, getting ready. There's the bike, fueling up. This one is at constant 250 watts. Oh. Okay, effort 1 done. Averaged the 250 watts. I think it felt all right. It's warm. Yeah, it actually felt like I was holding myself back on the steep bits of the hills. I think you naturally always do ride at a higher power going up the hill, and then it felt like a lot of watts going down the hill. So yeah, on to run 2, just fueling up on some sweets. This one, 280 watts up the hill, and then 220 on the way back down. Although, might have to go slightly less on the way back down, because I'll be descending for less time than I'm ascending. So yeah, let's get going. So what exactly happened? Well, although it's important to take all real-world testing with a pinch of salt, I think we can pretty categorically say that runs 2 and 3 were faster than the first, and by quite some distance. To see exactly what happened, I've compared the laps of the first and second effort on the Strava, and as you can see, I steadily pulled away up the climb on run 2, just as you'd expect, as I was riding 30 watts harder. By the top of the climb, I was 1 minute and 57 seconds ahead. A sizable advantage, but one that did get eaten into on the descent. Now, just a reminder, I was descending at just under 220 watts on the second effort, compared to 250 watts on the first. Despite this though, I was still 55 seconds up as I crossed the finish line. Run 3 confirmed these findings, that climbing harder and descending easier was once again faster, albeit by a lesser margin than the difference between runs 1 and 2. I did then recruit some other riders to go and give this a go, and once again, same thing. So, why is this, and does it mean that we should all be riding the hills harder? Well, firstly, I should point out that this phenomena does appear to be true on whatever course we've tried it on, and of course applies even if you're not using a power meter. You can still gauge your effort based on heart rate or even just perceived exertion. So why is it faster? Well, to help explain this, I'm going to turn to some cars. You see, this is a Corvette Z06, and given enough road, it will do 199 miles an hour thanks to having 505 horsepower. To do more than 200 miles an hour though, you need quite a lot more power. This is a Porsche 918, for example, and it will do 216 miles an hour, but it needs 875 horsepower to get there. That's obviously very quick, and to go faster than that, it takes a huge amount more power. The Bugatti Chiron Supersport, for example, that has 1,578 horsepower. What I'm trying to say is that 3 times more power does not get you 3 times more speed, due to our annoying friend aerodynamic drag. Now, drag is not a linear equation, and rather its relationship with speed is quadratic. What that means is that for a bit more speed, you encounter quite a lot more drag, and things only get worse and worse the faster you go. How does that relate to our little test? Well, when climbing, I was traveling at about 20 kilometers an hour, and my additional 30 watts got me a nice healthy dose of additional speed. When descending those 30 watts make far less of a difference to my average speed because I was traveling faster. Let's take 2 random points from run 1 and 2. For example, here on run 2, my additional 30 watts got me an additional 3.2 kilometers an hour on the climb. But 30 watts less on the descent, it only cost me about 1.4 kilometers an hour. So does this mean that you should ride harder on the climbs? Well, yes and no. If your primary goal is to get round a lumpy route faster, then our tests show that yes, you're better off putting more effort into the climbs than on the flats or the descents. However, and this is quite an important bit, it's also probably less sustainable. I did this test 3 times and was in far more pain on the last effort than on the first. You see, even though my average power / energy expenditure was the same, the toll that it took on my body was not. If you go out on a ride, then you might have heard people saying that you've got a box of matches to burn and that every effort that you put in burns a match. Although this does rather oversimplify your body's energy systems, there is quite a bit of truth in this analogy. Riding near, at, or over your FTP will burn matches. It will burn carbs and create lactic acid, which, however hard you are, will have an effect on your riding performance later in the day. My recommendation for if you're trying to ride a longer hilly route as fast as possible, climb at about sweet spot, aka comfortably hard on the climbs, keep the pace up on the flats, and then recover on the descents. This might be what you do already, but now you've got some science to back it up. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like. Did you expect there to be this much difference? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel for lots more bike stuff. We'll see you next time.